veo pasar. Mi corazón se enloquece y me empieza a palpitar. Se emociona, ya no razona, no lo puedo controlar. Se emociona, ya no razona y me empieza a cantar. Me canta así, así. Biri biri bom bom, biri biri bom bom, biri 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 bom bom, biri 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 biri. Cada vez que lo oigo hablar, me tiemblan hasta las piernas y el corazón igual. Se emociona, ya no razona, no lo puedo controlar. Se emociona, ya no razona y me empieza a cantar. Me canta así, así. Biri biri bom bom, biri biri bom bom, biri 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 bom bom, biri 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 biri. Hey, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah. Cuando escucho esta canción, mi corazón quiere cantar así. Me canta así, cada vez que lo veo pasado. Mi corazón se enloquece cada vez que lo veo pasar y me empieza a cantar así. Así.
Are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Beady beady boom boom.
Like
Welcome. I like Selena. I don't like that song.
Why?
I play Selena all the time.
You do?
No, you don't. You
I
play.
don't know what you guys play
You
here,
play
but it makes me
wacky
anxious is what they
Selena.
play.
You don't play real Selena. But anyway, welcome. Today happens to be International Women's Day.
Yes.
So
I tried to wear purple, but I ended up with the purple shoes.
what
I couldn't
does
quite find
purple
them.
have to do with?
Purple is the color for International Women's Day. I tried it. I got frustrated with my purple clothes and ended up with this. Close enough. I got the purple necklace.
There's nothing purple on you.
My necklace and my shoes. My shoes kind of count, right?
I can't
nails?
argue with you today because today's your day.
You can always argue with me.
I can argue. I was opening up the show with Karen the singer, singing Bitty Bitty Boom Boom.
I love your delivery of information.
Why?
Karen the singer.
Karen the singer from,
Host of Latin Hustle with Karen.
oh, we can say that too.
What's in the name? At least you remember her name.
What's
So we're good on that too.
Internet. I gotta tell you, I wanted to set this
Are
whole
you a little
conversation.
tired like I am?
Not at all.
No?
Do we have the C Square piece that she made about the podcast?
I'm going to see if we got that.
I don't know if we got that.
mean, we're gonna-
Where did
it should be
everybody
there.
go? It's like crickets in here.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. I don't know where everybody is. Welcome to our midday show.
I wanted to play
kinda
that.
like for-
'cause I wanted to give that as a gift of humor for you.
Homage to Katie. Home day. But Katie's not here. Most of our crew is out on spring break. So the rest of the crew, I think they're hiding like crickets in Studio A. I don't know where they
They're
are.
all
But
looking for something.
International Women's Day. You know what it's all about today?
Women?
Equality, equity for women, and then our lovely governor decides to take our equities away. But I can't say any of that yet because,
You're shrinking me.
well, I'm not shrinking you. You're not our governor. And I know, I just think the women,
No,
I just
but-
think in my opinion, today I'm going to voice my opinions if I don't always, women should have the right to choose. And you can choose what you so wish and you believe in, but our rights should not be taken away. Especially today when we're talking about equity and equality. You don't have to shrink back. You can
How you
can
doing?
sit strong. I just think it's wrong to take our rights away. Anyway, my opinion, not necessarily that of the studio or the station or Freddie, but that's how I feel today. So now
And
that
Freddie
I've got-
has nothing to say.
Now that I've got that out of, oh look, the flowers match my dress. We also have all of Frank A. Ruffolo's books for sale right here at the studio, and I'm really excited because I think we're working on creating a video for Stuck in Traffic, which is all about human trafficking and educating people and stopping the influx of what's happening. We've got that book as well. Everything is here, signed by Frank, and we can get you a signed copy of all of his books. Graciously, he's providing them for us, so you don't have to worry about Amazon or shipping or going to his website. They're all available right here.
And if everybody and anybody is doing something today and they can't stay and watch the show, you can take us with you. You can hear us on Spotify, which is what I wanted to play.
I'm
Leading
giving them
up
some
to that.
time to roll it out, see if they got it. You guys got that video?
We got the Spotify video.
Let's roll it. We're going to see what they've got.
It's funny because you can take us on Spotify. We've been putting that all on. Went to an event last night and they said to me, I saw the Spotify video. I didn't know you were on Spotify. You got it? All right, so
roll it.
let's roll this. This is from me to you.
Thank you.
Hey Kaylee, what's up?
Hey, nothing, what's up?
Nothing, just looking for music for Grandpa I listen to while we're in the car.
What's wrong with listen to now?
Let's just say we have different tastes, you know?
Why don't you try listen to a podcast on Spotify?
Like which one?
The Broken Cafe Studio one is really good.
Okay, I'll try that one out, thanks.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought.
You know the funniest thing about that video, besides the dancing? He goes, Grandpa and I. Not Dad and I. Grandpa and I. That's even the funniest thing.
I tell you, anytime that they want to do a script and they ask for somebody who's humorous, don't pick Josh. He's supposed to be happy.
He's
What is
happy.
this? With the fingers.
He's happy.
He doesn't dance. They told me that dance. He didn't dance.
He doesn't have two dudes in the car happening, so he's got Grandpa in the car with him.
Wow,
He's got you joining him.
that's funny.
Anyway, you can find all of our podcasts available on Spotify. I don't know. People seem to think there was something to listen to. I do not know why. You can see the man in the hat. You can listen to him anyway. Check out your Spotify, the Brooklyn Cafe TV, and you can follow us right here. Anyone who's in the area, stop on by at the studio or give us a call. What's the number?
888-994-4995, Studio A.
We've got Frank's
Usually
voice on
I
top.
do that.
I know.
You threw a curveball.
Taking my
at me.
power back today, baby.
Wow.
Wow, I know. I'm excited. We've got some longtime friends joining us. You know, you and I, we meet a lot of people, and we don't always remember everyone's name to go with a face. And Sarah Walsh and Whitney Turner walked in today, and I'm like, I know you, but I don't know if I've ever met you in person or were we virtual, right?
Virtual. It was
Whitney,
virtual.
I think I met you in person.
We were in person.
Because we had this whole conversation, and now they have left their previous areas of employment, and now they were working together with Warrior Within. So remember the Warrior Within. So no better day than International Women's Day than to embrace your inner warrior, right?
So excited to be here today. What a coincidence, but we know that it's really not a coincidence. We were meant to be here today.
Right, coincidence never happened. Are we checking their mics? Are they good?
Tell me about Warrior. What is it?
Warrior Within.
Within.
Warrior Within Services. So basically, Sarah and I are both licensed clinical social workers, and it's a private practice. And we really focus on empowering people to be their best self, which goes along with International Women's Day. So people taking their power back, essentially, and through therapy and coaching, we can help to get them there.
And you're both licensed clinical social workers, and you've been with some amazing organizations within our community. You left, and now you have created this great place of business for everybody. What's different from what you were doing to what you're doing with Warriors Within?
Well, you know, Whitney and I, we both worked in the nonprofit world, and we've been friends for, I think part of this is really our story. We've been friends for 12 years or over 12 years now, and we're both licensed clinical social workers, and we've been talking about, you know, building a private practice and really wanting to have our own business and focusing on empowering people and helping people be their best selves. And 2 years ago, we decided to do this, and, you know, also part of this is our personal story as friends, but also our personal stories overcoming challenges and really being the best selves that we can be. So we really want to share that with people.
What types of clients are you working with? Not just women, you work with men and women.
We work with everyone, and sometimes we kind of go back and forth and we talk about, like, does Warrior Within speak to women more? Right. But many men reach out to us. It's really people who feel like they've lost themselves along the way and need some assistance finding themselves again. So we work with everyone. We work with pretty much most age groups. We work with teenagers on up. So, you know, we have some other therapists that are also in our private practice. But again, the people that I believe the message resonates with the most are people who feel like they need to connect with themselves again.
Now, it's interesting. You said connect with themselves again. I think that after COVID, a lot of people have displaced who they are and how they fit in because COVID has created all these changes. And sometimes people don't like change. Sometimes people love change and they don't know how to cope with change. So is it displace, or is it trying to locate themselves in what's going on currently in our situation?
I mean, I think everyone has their personal struggles. You know, we work with a lot of people who want to sort of get back to where they were or find out who they are. You know, speaking of COVID, you know, a lot of people were very focused on their children if they were parents. Struggling with that at-home learning. And a lot of parents do find that they put so much into their kids and sort of lose who they are, particularly mothers. So we really help people identify what is it that they want and how to get there. And some of that is also relearning a lot of things that they learned from childhood, for example. So we want to help people relearn how to just be the best version of themselves. And so part of what we did was we created a Warrior Words of Wisdom. And each of us have some wisdom that we like to share with our clients that seems to be very helpful. So we'd like to share that today.
So hopefully during the show. But Freddie, I do want to touch on what you mentioned, people coming out of COVID and the mental health issues that we saw then and see now. And so I always say, like, people are really unwell. And so during COVID, I think...
What do you mean people are unwell?
Mental health wise. You know, people were kind of isolated.
Oh, during COVID.
Yes.
Okay.
And then again, if you didn't reach out and get support, you're still sitting with the same stuff. And so I think, you know, now people just kind of popped back into life, but sometimes we're still seeing that those mental health issues that weren't addressed during COVID and weren't addressed before COVID are there. And so you'll see people with low frustration tolerance, right? Like, how many people have been, you know, in line somewhere and someone completely freaks out? Donna, you raising your hand because
I'm raising
that's
my hand
you?
because I've got low frustration tolerance. I've got total PTSD from crowds. We went to this event last night and I looked at him and there had to be 100 people in this square area, if not more. And I said, I'm not going to make it here with all these people talking in my face, right up close. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go. He found me a place to sit down on a corner because I totally have COVID PTSD. And other people say to me, I don't understand. You're with people all day long.
And I've gotten better at the opposite. I've learned more patience. I've learned to accept the fact that last night was going to occur. I already knew I got to find a corner because Dawn doesn't handle all of that coming at us at one time. And if you're in this business and you think that you like being surrounded by people all the time, it's not true. So I've learned something about myself. You know, I really am happy you're here because there are two sides to this story. There's the side where you don't want to deal with all of these different changes, and then there's the side where we've gotten better to learn how to deal with all of these changes. And I think both of them are necessary to have a village to grow people.
Well, and even more so, the fact that both of you can shake your heads and say, I relate to that. I feel
100%.
like,
100%,
right.
yes.
And so normalizing it more is really helpful. Like I came out of COVID and all of a sudden I was kind of going through my life and I recognized, I think I'm having some social anxiety because I was really happy in my little box on the screen. And so to have to go be around people again, I could feel anxiety and stress, and I'm a redhead, so I turn bright red. You can see anything on my face, and I would have these social situations. And I remember I was talking to someone, and like he looked at me and he was like, what's going on? I'm like, just having a little social anxiety. I'm gonna breathe through it. He's like, do I need to leave? I'm like, nope, everything's cool. It was a friend of mine. And you know, that was a real wake-up call for me because I'm a social worker and I get this, and I was having, you know, these symptoms as well. So I think everyone experienced different ways where COVID culminated, and unless we get the support we need, it continues. But just talking about it, I think, is so helpful. What have you
Absolutely.
seen, Sarah?
I mean, I think I had the same experience. We were working at home. We were in our little, Zoom boxes. And when I ended up working, and being in meetings, when the meetings occurred in person, it was a lot of anxiety. I couldn't believe, I just wasn't used to this, right? Having to be in person, and it created a lot of anxiety for me too. What I did realize though, for me, is that I like being with people. I didn't realize how isolated I was. I didn't realize how even slightly depressed I was. Not putting on pants, not getting up, not getting out of the house. It really did create a very isolating world, more than I had realized now that we're back out. So I'm glad that we're all working through this.
Well, I wanna take a hard break because Nancy and Dawn, to my surprise, are here. And what I wanted to do is I want to talk about the incident that we had last night, and Nancy represents the
Networking Beast.
The Networking Beast, and we were there, and it was fantastic. But I want to go over the different personalities that are coming forward. And like you said, this is after COVID, and some people are very aggressive, and some people are very passive. But people are coming out because they know a change is necessary. But you mentioned your red hair. There are certain things that stand out at these events, and that's what I learned yesterday. And I want to get your opinion on this stuff, but I want to take a hard break first. Let's take a commercial so we can get situated.
Okay.
And find out what our time.
Who are you?
What?
Who are you?
I'm Freddie.
You never do this.
Oh no, I know that. But I gotta tell
I'm
you.
like, you've got us all kind of spinning over
But
here.
I gotta tell you something. I am so happy that the ladies are here. I think that the timing to this is way overdue. And I love the fact that the two of you have come in at this stage today, and that the other two ladies are in here. And I wanted to talk about this. I just didn't know how to bring this about. And then there's the Latin side to what Karen brings to this whole equation.
Yeah.
Because we spoke to somebody half the night in Spanish.
Because once COVID ended, we're going to go to commercial break. We all got thrown back in the world as if it never existed, and we're all supposed to act like it never existed and who we were then. And we've changed. And even in our home lives, it's changed. And some people totally adapted, and others I'm having a harder time. And it's not being so accepted in my house. Like, well, why don't you want to get on an airplane? Well, I didn't really like it then, and I really don't like it now. And my son's getting married in 2 weeks, and I got to get on an airplane. I said, only because I love you so much am I actually doing this. So a lot to talk about
Yes. So
on
let's
International Women's
take
Day.
a hard break, and then we'll time our stuff in here. We'll go from there.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422 For no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let Ant2 TV help get you there.
Stephanie Jaffe is a world-renowned artist who creates one-of-a-kind pieces. Using a keen sense of color and composition, her vibrant collages and mosaics integrate eclectic elements such as vintage keepsakes and fine china with blown glass and fired clay to create whimsical arrangements. For more information about her work, come down to the Brooklyn Cafe TV studio or go to StephanieJaffeArt.com.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 855-348-5925. That's 855-348-5925. Again, 855-348-5925.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 855-993-2180. That's 855-993-2180. Again, 855-993-2180.
Hey Kaylee, what's up?
Hey, nothing, what's up?
Nothing, just looking for music for Grandpa I listen to while we're in the car.
What's wrong with listen to now?
Let's just say we have different tastes, you know?
Why don't you try listening to a podcast on Spotify?
Like which one?
The Broken Cafe Studio one is really good.
Okay, I'll try that one out. Thanks.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the AMP Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought. You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Don't you miss that other little redhead that kind of hangs with us?
And we're back.
Katie, what, were you standing in front of the
And we
camera?
started a quad. Because we got a lot of ladies in the studio again, International Women's Day today. Congratulations to all the ladies that are sitting here. And I wanted to jump on, because we have a time crunch in the corner over there, jump on what happened last night a little bit and get their opinion about people in the room.
Because we were talking about networking, and you and I network a lot. We have a lot of people in here all day long. But in my mind, it's controlled chaos, right? I know where everybody is, and if it gets too much, like it did last week, you might find me in studio, be in a corner in a chair and the door's closed. Because being around that many people, for me, if I don't have a place where I can retreat to, it becomes like I go into this panic attack. But I can control it in here. Last night, Nancy, we go to this amazing event, we're the Networking Beast, and there were a lot of people there really early, and all of a sudden there was like, whoom! And all of these triggers for me came out, which you can't, especially in the industry we're in, we're not allowed to actually, we're not supposed to have those feelings, right? Because we're networking, we're meeting people all the time, but yet I'm human as well, and you thrive at that. So Nancy's here, and we met Dawn Andre at a party, birthday party, and Nancy was there also on Saturday night. Again, a lot of people in a room in a house party, totally different new situations. So I'm glad you ladies are here. Welcome International Women's Day.
Thank you for having us.
Nancy, are all of your events like this? Or was last night particularly busy?
Yes. Thankfully, by the grace of God, yes, there.
Has any of it changed? We were talking about how we went through COVID, came out of COVID, and here we are back like it never happened.
I will say that it's made, people a little more aware, right? Those that are more conscious choose to stay away or choose to stay outside, while others just kind of want to get back to the things the way they were. And I think a lot of us just want things to get back to the way that they were because life goes on, right? The Networking Beast waited a while before they came back onto the scene.
Did they?
Some of us, really benefited from that because we really needed that because we're working so hard. And others, I was dying. I needed to be in front of people. It's like the air in my lungs. That's what people do for me.
You're very
That's where I flourish. It took a little bit to come back, but, other groups around us were doing events. And, Gabe and I had long conversations about this. And we said, we don't really want to be responsible in the event somebody gets sick, God forbid, dies.
Right.
So we let people know that they are welcome to come. If they'd like to wear a mask, they can. Those that were still weary just stayed away. But, a lot of times people wouldn't come to an event unless we had an event outside. But living in paradise, it's really difficult to have an event outside.
It's hot.
In the summer months.
It's hot.
But people seem to keep coming back for the Beast. And I guess it's a good problem to have, right?
Well, you have a good success rate. People, when they were networking and doing deals and talking everything else, in the Meat War room, we knew when it was iRobot, and he did a nice job. I got to talk to him. I know the guy over 8 years when he did some other stuff with me at iHeart. I thought it was a nice event. But I want to also flip this because we had that great event last night, and then we were at Laura's birthday party, where Dawn was involved, for an hour and a half, and it showed a different side. I mean, a lot of people came out for this birthday party, and Dawn was there entertaining all of us with her, talking about podcasts and everything else. And again, it shifts the mind frame. So I sit down and I watch about how people react, how people are talking to one another. Because in our business, you have to read the room before you attempt to try to make a deal. Because otherwise, you're going to run into a bad deal. And case in point last night, I spoke all night to our Latin friends in Spanish, and she's a somebody in South America and everything else, which was again, the event was great. It was difficult to hear because there was so much noise going on, difficult to talk and everything else. But I love the fact that over there you have sitting two different scenarios that are really one, showing how people are coming back out and how they're behaving, how different people are than when we knew them before COVID, how they are trying to express the color of your hair, right? You're going to be noticed immediately, the color of her hair, because I knew her when she was a redhead. And Nancy threw me off. I said, Dawn, who's that? She said, that's Nancy. And you talked me through. I said, oh. And then we got to see
like
her
we
again.
talked about, Whitney. I talked him through.
She explained to me what was going on. So there's so many shifts and things that are going on presently. And I wanted to get your opinion. You have to be able to make these shifts. Dawn is the reason that I do these events, is because she says, we have to get out to do more of these events. And then she tells me, well, now I'm going to withdraw. That makes no sense to me.
Because I know I need to.
Well, and that was, I was listening to what you were saying, and, you know, based on your job and your role, there's a lot of output that goes with it. I mean, both of you, that's kind of what you all have to do. So what happens when it's too much output, right? And what you were saying last night, it was a lot of output. There were a lot of people there. And so that's where we go back to those healthy boundaries. And we recognize it's okay for me to say, at this point, I've given as much as I can. I need to put that boundary in place, and I need to conserve some energy for myself, because if I put it out there for everyone else, I don't have it when I need it.
Yeah,
And what
I
if the
don't do that.
business requires you to pass those boundaries? Then what do you do?
So, well, Sarah, go ahead. What do you
Go
think?
ahead, Whitney. No, go ahead.
So that's where you kind of come up with those coping skills. So you have to really understand, how far can I go, right? Because for different roles, you know, lots of times we have to push through. I typically am a personality that is a lot more introverted. So for me to go to a networking event, I have to like do all this self-talk. Okay, Whitney, we're gonna get dressed. We're gonna go. You're gonna talk to people. You can do this. It's a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And so we do this self-talk. But then afterwards, I need to be able to know, okay, I can kind of retreat and recharge.
Here's the funny thing. The ladies next to you are all bouncing their head yes. Like an SNL skit. You can see they're agreeing with you, but yet at these events, Dawn, you could have been singing in front of everybody and no one would have thought twice. And Nancy, you ran the whole place last night.
I know a lot of people in the room. And it's important to me that the people that attend come with purpose, right? And leave with something more than they had before. It's one of the reasons why Gabe and I started this, and we were really passionate about bringing people together, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you get out of it. It's what, you know, what the room gets out of it.
Right.
Because if they get something great out of it, then it comes back to tenfold. Hey, you're with the animal, the blue animal, and I wear blue. I don't think I'm an animal, and I just don't think it's the beast as an animal.
That's
but
funny.
I'm happy to be equated with it. I'm happy that there's a resemblance. Ironically, it was just blue. It was not planned that way. We just wanted the beast to stick out, much like every one of us when we go to an event. We just want to be able to make a difference, stick out, make somebody want to talk to us, want someone to engage with us. Because if not, you could be like everyone else and sit in the corner and have a drink and eat meatballs all night.
Well, I got to tell you, Nancy, you're fortunate. They called you, you're the one with the beast. Me, I'm the guy with the hat. They don't know my name. They don't know nothing. They say, oh, yeah, the hat. They saw the hat on Facebook. They saw the hat on something. And they don't know me. They just know the hat. So, and we laugh about it all the time, right? It's like a gimmick. It's like, I'm sure if you go to events, they're going to say, oh, you're a lady with the red hair. As much as that makes me laugh. But it's true. Yes.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, we want connection.
Yes.
We as humans want to connect. We want to make those, you know, we want to be able to connect with other people. We want them to connect with us. And I would say, I don't know about you guys, but 9 times out of 10, when I do psych myself out and go to these network events, I'm happy I did, right?
Yes.
And so that's also something to think about, like, you know, maybe we have to psych ourselves out, do all that self-talk Whitney was saying, but we're happy we went. We're happy we connected. The more of the boundaries, though, I guess what you were saying, Freddie, is, well, what if you have to? If you have to, there's always a limit. It's okay to have limits. It's okay to take that time out. Like Dawn, you were saying, go to the bathroom, go to your corner, do some deep breathing, and then get yourself together and ready. It's okay. We're all human. Even though you guys do this for a living, we're all human.
See, I hope that when I share my stories and we tease at my panic attacks and everything, anyone that's watching or listening realizes it's okay for everyone to be in that space. Because you and I sit here doesn't mean that I don't feel those feelings as well. And it's not as if, Laura's party was easy for me because we know Laura, it's always a great time. The Beast, it never even dawned on me, occurred to me, no pun intended, that there are going to be that many people. We just knew we wanted to go and meet. And I want to talk to Dawn Andre. You're shaking your head, yes, but you seem to be very outgoing as well.
So I was just getting ready to say, I am both. I am very introverted and I am very extroverted. And I, like you, get very, when it's too many people, too much, I gotta go back and recharge. So I can do both, and I do believe that during COVID, people were so relieved that they didn't have to be out there. And so they really got that downtime that everybody truly needed in their existence. And then now that it's coming back out, I think people have found their limits and their boundaries, and they're like, okay, I can do this and be out there and extroverted, but then I can also come back and say, you know what? Not today. Maybe tomorrow, and I'll be better at it. It really does prove a point that we all want to connect, but even connecting sometimes whacks you, scares the daylights out of you. And that's the human nature of all of us, which we don't allow anybody to, to say that that's how it is. We kind of say, no, I'm not like that or whatever, but we all really are, and we don't acknowledge it. And I think COVID showed us that. And now that it's getting back to normal, we're able to kind of get out there again and do it in our boundary-driven purpose.
I gotta tell you, I've discovered that boundaries, because
You hate that word.
I don't believe in that word. I don't.
Does it scare you, Freddie? Boundaries scare you?
Sarah, he does not like that word. If we say to him, set boundaries, and he says no, I go, you're going to let your grandson put his fingers in a socket without setting a boundary? He says, yes, they're going to learn next time not to do it.
I guarantee you they won't. But the bottom line to me, it's okay. But for me, what's not okay is to think that I've had enough. I haven't had enough. I'm going to keep going until I keep going. I don't see a boundary. I see it as empty space, because every time that I sit down and I say, okay, I had enough, something else happens. And I have to answer the bell. I got to go forward. I got to give you an example. We took Josh and Nickelodeon and Nikki to talk about, to take them out to the event last night. And I did it for a reason. I also took Josh with us to the birthday party, and Dawn spoke to Josh during this thing. He's a very, very big introvert. Last night, I didn't recognize him and Nickelodeon. And I didn't recognize them because they went out and they worked the room and they're talking and he's bringing me business cards. And I'm like, who is this guy? So I firmly believe, given a little push or a little something, good things begin to happen. So I know that I have to be careful with Dawn. But the thing I don't understand about Dawn, she tells me, oh, I'm an introvert and this and I've never seen that. I have never seen. Did you see that at the party?
It's an Aries trait. It absolutely is. It's an Aries trait that you are extroverted, but then you're also very guarded and very reserved with your energy, because not everybody deserves your energy.
I guess it is an energy thing. And
It
it's not
is.
that they don't deserve it. It's sometimes I just need to breathe. So
Maybe that was the wrong terminology. I mean, certain people you really want to be engaged with, and other people you can tell that that's not, you don't want to engage with them. And I think that's not that they don't deserve it, because everybody deserves love and compassion and time, but that energy doesn't mesh with
The
your
interaction is
energy.
harder sometimes, right?
Well, and connection is attached to vulnerability. So if we're going to have true connection with people and honest connection, it means we have to be vulnerable and let people truly see us. And so I think that's where, you know, we were talking, are you someone I want to be vulnerable with and let you in that way? If not, I can have superficial connection all day long. But if I truly feel like I'm going to connect, I have to be kind of vulnerable. And what I found is by being vulnerable, then people see me and I create that opening for me to see them.
It's showing your best self when you're being vulnerable. When you show someone your vulnerability, you're showing your true self, and then that's inviting for others to come in. Like, wow,
And people want that. I mean, I spent a long time talking to one gentleman last night, and he kept saying to me, I can't tell you about me, but why am I telling you this? And I'd ask him, and why am I telling you this? And why am I telling you this? Because I think you build that trust factor, right, of vulnerability, and then there's this equal exchange of comfortable and being authentic. And you and I we're like this here, and we're like this at a networking beast, we're like this at a birthday party. You and I are who we are wherever we are. And it's that authenticity. And I know we got to take a commercial break, but when everyone was home for COVID, I think the mental health aspect of it became very isolating for people. And I know for my parents and the senior population, it's been incredibly detrimental for them, and they have not rebounded because they don't have events like the networking beast that you got to push yourself and say, I got to get out there. They don't. Like, I can choose not to, but I have an option.
Right.
They choose not to, and there's nowhere for them to go other than to dinner together or to the doctors together because they don't have that opportunity. So I thank you, Nancy, for opening up the opportunity because now we all have choice to go, but we have choice.
You have choice.
Right back to the beginning of what I said today.
And once you go,
we all have choice to make those choices of what we choose to do.
and once you go, you have choices on how to handle
Exactly.
it. And sometimes you have to go to a few of these, make adjustments, and sort of pick and choose. Like when we walked in, Nancy, we had Joey meet us there. We have friends of ours that all showed up at the front when we all walked in together, which I kind of liked that because there was strength and unity because I could tell right away these guys were a little bit shy or withdrawn to do this, but I think that they were sipping a little bit of wine
Bless
to
you.
see if they like it. So
before we go to commercial break, I think we have Kenny Love on the phone.
is Kenny on the phone?
Yeah.
Let's bring Kenny on the phone.
Hey, Kenny, how are you doing?
Kenny, you there? Kenny Love.
No? All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll see if we can connect with Kenny and continue this conversation because I love the two sides of it, right? And I love how it goes back to choice. But we live in a great place, and we're very fortunate to be able to have these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Some more to come. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-8873.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like People, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40 plus works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? What would you do if you had a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times treatment is fully covered, so why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to take off time from work, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call us right now and save a life.
Call 855-350-4504. That's 855-350-4504. Call 855-350-4504 now.
Want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call, because the best prices are not online. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner. Call today and get the best price on your next flight, guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
Artist Rosie Sherman paints her passions to share with everyone. Expressing herself through bold and vibrant colors, her suggestion and style are always in flux. Inspired by travels, nature, romance, and the human spirit, Rosie makes sure her depiction of women are strong and proud. Her landscapes illustrate the changing seasons in the diverse world that we live in. To find her artwork in the multiple medias you can purchase, visit rosiesherman.pixels.com.
Brand new shows, only on AMP2 TV. We have All-in-One Insurance, Latin Hustle con Karen, Meta Magazine Show, Pitch 2 Production, The Florida Love Show, The Sixth Borough, Meet the Experts, Reinvented Life, Lights in the Night, and The Hangout. Tune in so you don't miss these amazing new shows. Only on AMP2 TV.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
As Josh goes, thank you. Sound effects, please. So hi to Sally, hi to Steve. They said they're smiling. Frank's got a new book that's been published, so that he's going to be bringing that in as well.
What's the name of the new book?
Retribution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Mac Chop did the cover for it, which is pretty cool. So he'll be bringing in Retribution, which is the next in his series of the Jack Stenhouse series. Ready to figure out this conversation? Keep going? I don't even remember where we left off. But I know, Nancy, you have an event tonight that we wanted to touch base on a little bit. International Women's Day event at 111.
Yes, it is tonight. I'm very fortunate. I have a fantastic relationship with the owner of 111 Boca Lounge. located at 111 Southeast Meisner Boulevard. He's been a big supporter of me and the things that I like to achieve by bringing women and people together on the event of making connections and taking our businesses to the next level. I've had my very first International Women's Day event there 3 years ago, just as we were starting to climb out of COVID. And I had about 25 people. Dawn was one of them because she's a good friend and she supports the heck out of me, and I'm so appreciative of that. And the following year, I had it in Delray, and I had 80 women on the deck at Miso Beach. Every one of us is dressed in the color purple in solidarity of International Women's Day. And I'm pretty sure that the event's going to be much larger tonight, getting a tremendous response. Could not be happier for that. Like, I opened up my email this morning and saw 150 confirmed guests.
Wow.
And I wasn't sure if I wanted to cry, if I wanted to freak out. We're doing something a little different, bringing in people that will help enrich the lives of the everyday woman. Not just a regular event, come out, have a free drink, nibble on something, dress in a particular color. I wanted to make a little bit of a difference this year. And I thought to myself, this year should be different than any other year I've ever done this, because we have to be doing something that immediately gives back to someone or something greater than them. And there is a saying, it says, if you reach a particular level of success, you must turn around, bend down, and help the person below you. Give them a hand up. And it's just my own little old way of doing that. The event is tonight at 111 in Boca, 111 Southeast Meisner Boulevard.
What time?
Right around the corner. Right, a lot of people may know where High Drinks is. It's right there.
What time?
It starts at 6 and it goes till 8, but we always have people that straggle on a little bit more. It will be open for business tonight. He always has a fantastic crowd, and they're always welcoming, and they have fantastic service there. So.
And what do you think women are looking for at this point in time? You say for women to excel and to give to others. Think it's different now?
I think women really need to know and need to connect with other women and find them that they're more relatable than they think. We have the same struggles. We have the same thoughts. Either we're moms, we're single moms, we're professional women. We're just getting out there in the industry. There's someone out there that has to find meaning in why they do these things. Why not talk to other women and find out what their thoughts are? Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they're really that introvert that really wants to be extrovert, screaming, trying to get out, but having a really hard time of getting out of their own way. That's what my events are about.
And
That's
Dawn, what do you
most
like
proud
about
of.
the event?
I agree with Nance. It's that because a lot of women, unfortunately, are taught that, you shouldn't allow women to be brought up, and you shouldn't be, oh, you're gorgeous, or your dress is beautiful, or complimentary, or, oh, I can help you with this. I think a lot of times women think that they're in competition, as opposed to, if you hold hands together, you're going to go a little further, because nobody is successful alone. You need people around you. And I think women, because we do so much by ourselves all the time, families, husbands, parents, things of that nature, we forget that we need somebody to hold your hand and say, you know what, it's going to be okay, let's go.
Interesting. Ladies, I was going to ask the question why it's so difficult for you women to unify, because in numbers there is strength. So I guess the question is why?
Sarah, what are you finding? Because you created your, I don't say organization, but your platform for a reason.
Oh, for us. I mean, Whitney and I, we wanted to join forces, but I think that going back to why is it difficult, I think women sometimes are competitive. And I think that, once they, you put your egos aside, you can really connect. And like you said, I totally agree, do more together. But sort of related to that, I would just it occurred to me, women are also taught, typically in society, be the good girl. Okay, femininity is usually very passive. Don't say anything. Don't cause waves. Don't.
And so, woman, a woman be a good girl. What?
Well, and one of the things that was coming up for me as I was listening about tonight's event is that phrase, we're only as strong as the woman next to us, right? So it's always looking and seeing, like, how do we build each other up? And that's what I've learned from a lot of the strong women in my life, that, you know, it's a choice. I can see you as someone that's competition, or I can see you as a teammate. And so I'm going to choose to see you as a teammate and to see what can I do to build you up. But again, what I found with women who take that approach, it means that they're secure within themselves. Lots of times when we're feeling competitive, it's about our own insecurities. So how do we overcome that stuff that we're carrying around?
And recognizing, you know, each person has strengths and weaknesses. You know, when you're teaming with other women, what are your strengths? What are your strengths? And really becoming this powerhouse when we all recognize each individual strength.
Yeah, when we get to go to these events, you realize if we put our swords down and we open up that window and let other people's energy and light in, we're really more similar than we say we are, than we think we are if we're home by ourselves. Because if we're home, we're isolated and, oh, no one wants to talk to me, I've got nothing to say, no one's going to be like me. And you go out there and you realize more of us are like each other than you realize. And we're all really out there trying to support for the greater good of our community and businesses. When I met to talk to Dawn, you are like an angel. You're bringing your mom to live with you. We were teasing. I'm like, my parents, they got 2 AIDS, and then they're going to go live someplace else. You know, we talked a lot, but we're all going through aging parents, aging children. We are aging by numbers, but we try not to age on the outside. But everything's changing, right? So if we can all relate to each other with what's going on, health issues, business, finances, we're all in this together.
From a man's point of view, I think women are very clever. I think women are the most clever things I've ever seen in my life, because there are women that can work a room, and there are women that a room work with them, but they're always in the center of it, whether it's outspoken, downspoken, side-spoken. Guys are one of two things. They're either over too much or they're under. That's
it's a tightrope we walk.
Yeah, but you guys are so clever because you can make a mountain of a molehill. You can talk the talk, walk the walk, and women always get noticed when they have something to say. It's like that E.F. Hutton commercial, and everybody will listen. Guys talk, and sometimes nobody's listening. So it depends on what's going on from what I've observed. Yesterday I saw there was a financial planner, it was a female. And in that room, I just met that one female financial planner. And I was a loan originator, Dawn. Okay? I was asked to talk in front of 3,000 people my second day on the job because the guest speaker, which was somebody, got sick or late or whatever. And I had to entertain these people, 3,000 people. I look at it and said, you want me to what?
We got Kenny on the phone.
Let's bring Kenny over.
Kenny Love, are you there?
I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
How are you doing?
So I love you guys so much.
We love you too.
And I've been listening to this amazing Brooklyn Cafe TV Amp Media show with these incredible women, from social workers to consultants to mortgage to all love ball mush balls. And I just wanted to bring love, especially on International Women's Day. I just wanted to love all you women out there, especially everybody on the show, even Freddie, who could be a woman at times. So we all love each other.
We love you, Kenny.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for checking
Thank
in.
you. Love back to you.
Kenny.
So all you guys are love ball mush balls. And I'll tell you, I've been listening and I'm just saying, there's so much love in that room. I had to call in. I was in tears. Just there's so much love and so much caring of other human beings that I had to call in and just say, I love you. I love you, love you, love you. I'm in tears.
We're glad you're feeling better. You ready for Friday?
Oh, I'm ready to rock Love Friday. So Friday, Dawn, is the 3-year anniversary of the Florida Love Show.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, and it's because of Dawn Love and Freddie Love, my brother and sister, who were the ones who had me start this show. If it wasn't for them, there would be no show. So I love you so much. We're 3 years of spreading love all over the world.
It's amazing.
The world is we're creating world love, spreading love. I mean, love songs right now is 360,000, thousands a day.
Wow.
It's going to be 1 million. I mean, from all over the world.
That's
Besides
amazing.
all the rest of the stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
So it's real. Everything is love. Love is everything.
Well, thank you, Kenny.
And I know your guests are there.
Yes.
So I
Everybody's
love
here.
you, love you, love you.
We love you,
So I
Kenny.
love you, love you, love you. So who are the guests that are on today? Could you speak to me?
Well,
We've
right,
got a
right
lot of
now
great
we
guests.
gotta finish the interviews, but thank you for calling. Just keep listening. We'll put out their names and lower thirds and everything else. You can catch the Kenny Love Show
Fridays at 3 o'clock.
and you are open. There's an open invite to come in and watch the show if you want to be part of that show as well.
Absolutely. Kenny, have a great day. Thanks for checking in.
Love you, Dawn. Love.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Dawn. Love.
All right, buddy. And I wanted to touch base a little bit about guys can sure as hell learn a lot more about what women bring to the table. And I've always said this, and I will say this until the day I no longer can. Men are jealous of women because we can't give birth. We can't do that. We cannot, no matter what we think we are, here, there, or everywhere, we cannot do that. I told you this when I first met you.
Oh my gosh.
We cannot give birth. And men think that they could do everything, and they can't do this.
So I'm trying to pick a song to dance to my son with at his wedding. So I have down my top 3.
Which are?
So I can't tell. So I sent it to my girlfriend this morning who's grown up with Aaron. Her son is Aaron's best friend, and he's getting married next year.
You having my
and I
baby?
said, here are my top 3. I said, warning of tears. She calls me back an hour later, sobbing. She's like, oh my gosh. I said, and I had a feeling. She said, it has to be this one. But it's nothing. And I think of you every time I cry when I listen to these songs, like I'm never going to make it through this dance of what you say about men can't, women can. And there's this bond that we have with our children, whether they're biological or you're raising them and they're not biological, that just is inseparable.
But the women have one thing in common. You can do something that nobody else can. Not in this species, anyway. You
What
can
do
do
they say? Don't mess
something-
with the mom and her chicks?
That's
You
right.
just don't
And
do
that
it.
goes for every animal in the animal kingdom. But a man has to look, and you got to tip your hat because a man can't give birth. And no matter how much you think you're more superior or whatever the hell you think, that will never change. That has never changed. So learn. You know, instead of fight, like they were talking about the women's soccer team makes the same money as men. Why not? They're more popular and they win more. Hello, they should be making more money. It makes no sense the way we do things. Women football refs, the Miami Marlins, the president and the CEO, both ladies are ladies, not men, in baseball. And I'm supposed to be shocked. Why? They're probably better at it than we are.
It's just time for equality. But I'm so glad you're all here.
Women are life and love as a whole. They bring life and they nurture and love whatever they come in contact with. And that's what we need to remember.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes we do it at our own energetic expense because we're so
Agreed.
conditioned. Not that men don't. Sometimes I think men just hide it better. We give, and to the point where we have to feel like we have to retreat because we've got nothing left. You know that oxygen mask thing?
Mm-hmm.
We have nothing left because we've given because we're supposed to, because we can, until we can't.
Well, and it's also learning that you're worthy of saying, you know what, I need a break.
Boundaries
or
again.
I can't do it. Exactly. And that it connects with self-worth. So like having those boundaries, yes, we can do all these things, but it's recognizing when I say no, it's because I'm worthy of that. When I say I deserve the same pay that a male deserves, it's because I'm worthy of that. And so that's something that we can work on ourselves, especially if that voice was shut down somewhere along the way or it was never cultivated.
You know, on your website it says, remember who you are. And that's come to me. This is the 3rd time that's come to me this week by someone saying, remember who you are. Sarah, why is that so important on your
Because I think that along the way we lose that, especially we were just talking about women, mothers, and how we're nurturers and we give and we give and we give and we give, and then we lose who we are. I remember when my kids were little, I was really losing myself and just like completely not focusing on my self-care. And I felt so guilty when I made the decision to stop at the gym on the way home from work 3 nights a week, because I thought, I've got to get home, I've got to be there every night, I've got to do this. But you know what that did for me when I put myself first? It allowed me to be a better mother. It allowed me to be a better wife. It allowed me to be a better everything. So not only do we also, not only like Whitney was saying, we need to recognize that we need to set boundaries and take time, but we really have to put ourselves first.
Well, and also your children are watching. So
Absolutely.
again, like when I'm saying, you know what, it's good for my mental health for me to go on a run, they're like, please go on a run, Mom. But I'm teaching them a healthy coping skill.
Sure.
And they're seeing, you know what, Mom's worthy of taking some time for herself as well.
We're setting an example. You know, when I started working with you, my kids were pretty grown up. Aaron was, I think, in middle school or high school, but it was a huge change for me to go back full time. And he says to me, he goes, Mama, I am so proud of you. I'm like, why? You're in college and you're a lawyer and why are you proud of me? He said, because you're doing something for you and you're doing something that you love to do and you work hard, but you love what you do. He said, and that you found something that you love for what you do after we grew up. He's like, he just is amazed. So you made me think about that because yes, they're watching what you do. We set an example for our kids.
Absolutely. My kids are in college and they're living at home. My son's still at home. And, I've got this whole Jewish mother. I want to cook and I want to provide food. And I'll say, what do you want me to make? What do you want me to make? What do you want me to make? And my son looked at me, my 19-year-old, and said, Mom, why don't you make what you want? And I was like, oh, okay, you're right. I mean, I need to put myself first. I make what I want. If you guys want to eat it, great. If not, whatever. I mean, that's just, another example of, okay, we really need to focus on us, which is just as important as focusing on other people. Freddie, I wanted to, when you were talking about women and what we can accomplish, Chris Rock has a new comedy special out, which I happen to have watched. And in that, he talks about how he's getting a divorce and how there are so many things once a man divorces a woman that they don't realize what they do for them. And he talks about how he's sleeping, in his bed and he's smelling something gross. And he's like, my pillowcase is dirty, and realized his wife was the one to always change the sheets. And that is I think it's just a perfect example of how we just do all sorts of things, and sometimes it goes unnoticed until they're gone and your pillowcase is dirty and you have to wash it yourself.
My mother used to, when she was alive, she was always the head in charge. She didn't ask for it, but it was her. So you know how guys say, yeah, I run my house. No, we ran around the house. So even LeBron James one day said, when Mom says throw out the garbage, you throw out the garbage. Mom says pick up that room, you pick up the room. You don't ask why, where, or when. There's something about that male-female bond that's a little bit different. But you got to remember, your mother, and we all have one, is the woman longest in your life. Will have the most effect in your life. And you know how they always say, look at how a man treats his mom, because that's how he's going to treat you when you marry him. So in my house, there was nothing Mom would not get. She wanted to move 17 times, we moved 17 times. We didn't say why, we did it. So, it's about learning how to cope with one another. It's about learning, the key word is learning. And never put yourself down. I say this to Dawn all the time. You don't give away your shine. You shine. You do your thing. It don't matter what anybody says or rents in your head. That's over there. And that's what I learned. You know why I learned that? Because my sister is still alive. And every day my sister lets me know. She writes the words, live your shine. I said, you live in yours? She says, absolutely.
She does.
And she's coming down. So my sister is my second mom now. Because she's been in my life longer than any woman I've ever known. Any woman I've ever known. And I'm going to tell you, you got to toughen up with sis because she's going to tell you the truth. I don't like what you just said. I don't like what you just did. So you got to walk a fine line. But I'd rather walk a fine line than to walk no line.
Commercial break?
Let's do that.
I don't know who's staying, but tonight, 6 o'clock, check it out at Club 111 Meisner Park. Free event?
It is free.
Free event, ladies. Go out and have some fun, get some networking. If you don't want to network, just meet some new great women in our community. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got to talk to this spectacular mother
wanna
because
flip all this to the
her
Latino
story
side,
is a whole nother story.
Oh, she got a story.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Known for his Art Deco Cubist style and compositions with dancing saturated color, Ken Bieberman has lived and breathed art his whole life. From the early 80s, he's influenced the Art Deco district of Miami Beach. Featured in numerous restoration projects, hotels, galleries, and clubs, Bieberman creates for everyday folks and celebrity clientele. He's also the proprietor of Art Repro, a giclée and scanning company in Pompano Beach. When it comes to scanning high resolution, size is not an issue. Professionally scanning art up to 10 feet and 64 inches in width, Art Repro utilizes state-of-the-art equipment. On quality canvas or paper, archival ink and printing mediums are put to use. Art Repro ensures colors are true and every nuance of the art is captured, including the canvas weave. Perfection is the priority. Contact artist Ken Bieberman today at 954-547-0095 or visit his website www.artrepro.net.
Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Le Sorel Restaurant, home of the authentic Italian tradition, offers a large menu that consists of seafood, steak, homemade pasta, brick oven pizza, and homemade desserts including a wide wine selection. We also have the best bar in Boca Raton with delicious cocktails, homemade limoncello, cappuccino, Italian espresso, brandy, and other specialties. Open every day with a lunch and dinner menu. For more information or to make a reservation, contact lesorelrestaurant.com or call 561-235-5301.
There is no way to ignore it. You hear it on the news, online, from your friends and family. What happened to my money? Whether it got hit by falling stocks and bonds, with the coronavirus, shrunk by a floundering 401k with low interest rates, and is riding the extreme ups and downs of the stock market with political elections. Many Americans are worried about their money and how they're going to retire. Help protect your financial future now and call J.D. Mellberg for your complimentary book from a leading financial firm that shows you ways not to run out of money whether the market goes up or down. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can protect your money for a lifetime. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits of annuities from hundreds of top-rated insurers, helping you to find ways to get up to 33% more income in retirement. That's right. 2 books, both absolutely free, for calling J.D. Mellberg. Help protect your financial future.
Call 877-643-3015.
Are you compromising your medical care for doctors out of your network? Are you tired of dealing with referrals to see a specialist? Are you aware that you can save up to $155 a month on your Medicare premiums? You need an all-in-one benefits company that can help with all of your Medicare plan needs. Call today, All-in-One Benefits Group at 954-614-5488. We're here to find an all-in-one plan for you. 954-614-5488. Call today for open enrollment.
Do you have an idea for a show or a podcast?
Do you want the opportunity to be on TV? Amp Media Productions is partnered with True Oldies Real Radio Station and powered by many online platforms such as Roku, Facebook, YouTube, and even Amazon Fire to help amplify your impact. Do you want your voice to reach a wide audience? Call us today at 866-224-5422.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Caught in the crossfire with my lover, and I'm taking cover for the bullet takes me out. Romantic in love and we're changing colors like a disco ball. We light it up and burn it down. And the truth is you can't live without me, 'cause it's not that easy when the drug won't let you down. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, we go round and round. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, it's gonna take us out. Never come down from the high we're feeling, and we're chasing demons through the darkness and the night. Oh, feeling the heat as the flames burn brighter, the tensions rising through the smoke and through the lies. And the truth is you can't live without me, 'cause it's not that easy when the drug won't let you down. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, we go round and round. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, it's gonna take us out. 'Cause it's a killer, psycho love thriller. We go round and round. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, it's gonna take us out. Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, we go round and round. 'Cause it's a killer, drop dead, stone cold thriller, psycho love won't give in, it's gonna take us out.
Mute live.
Okay. We got Phil? I didn't even know Phil was on the phone.
Phil is on his way to the baseball the baseball classic.
He's not on?
He's not. He's taking a plane ride.
Phil, give us a call
No,
back.
He may be on a plane. He has 3 baseball players playing in the classic, because he's an agent and he signs professional athletes. And congratulations to Phil, because the city of
Boynton Beach
approved the complex of 28 28,000 square feet right off a gateway. There's a little league field, and all that now belongs to him for the next 50 years. And they're putting a complex there where major leaguers are coming to work out, and then they're going to have all these minor league or small children
And the kids
fields.
and Miracle League, and really supporting the whole community of Boynton Beach.
It's an amazing, amazing complex, and Phil now has to fill in some of the blanks and things that are required on that, so he's looking for people to help out on that. We're going to have him come back when the Classic is over, and we're going to have some Major League ball players come in here to try to help and get the funding and everything else. We've been asked to put in a studio to do radio, television, and everything else. What happened?
Well, the phone's ringing right now.
And the phone's ringing, so we'll put them on there when we get. But anyway, getting back to the ladies, I wanted to really quickly touch on all of this information is fantastic. Last night when we were at the event, there was a flip side to this thing because I had to talk to a Latin lady in Spanish, and Karen is the host of our Latin Connection. And all of this information, when you have to transfer this into another language, in this case is Spanish, it's a different flavor. And everything changes because among the Latinas, though everybody thinks Latinas are fiery, they're very shy. Or they have this concept where they're not supposed to get ahead and everything else. He's on the line?
Yep.
All right,
Let's bring Phil over, and then we're going to talk
back.
to Karen. Hey, Phil, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We are good.
Are you headed to the Baseball Classic?
I am getting ready to get on my plane here in about 15, 20 minutes. So I have a couple of minutes to talk. I heard you guys talking baseball and sports this morning, and I figured it was a good day to call in and just say hello and see how you guys are doing. It's been a few weeks since I've talked to you, so just wanted to say hi and heading off to spring training in the World Baseball Classic.
Where are you going to be?
I'm leaving for Arizona.
In Arizona. That keeps coming up, Arizona.
Now, what games are you watching the USA play?
So I actually have guys that are playing against USA the first night. So they got to draw. Great Britain got to draw USA on Saturday the 11th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. over in the West Coast. So I will be at that game, and I'll be at the others for the rest of the week. I'll be there till the 15th. I come home on the 15th on the red eye, believe it or not.
So you have 3 players on the UK team or the USA team?
On the Great Britain team. So some of my guys that are from the Bahamas actually are playing with Great Britain because Great Britain and the Bahamas were once a part of each other.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's a little history left.
Back to history, I know. See that?
And the Baseball Classic this year is supposed to be bigger and better than ever because there's a lot of superstars playing in the major leagues now. A lot of superstars. So the competition is going to be very, very interesting. There are guys on the Puerto Rico team that they think they have a shot. It's not going to be a walk for the USA to just win baseball anymore. That's over with. This is going to be a very interesting piece, pitching-wise, hitting-wise, and everything else. Now, I wanted to ask Phil, do they have the time clock at the Classic as well, the time of the pitches?
You know, that's a great question. I'm not sure. You stumped me on that one. Haven't really looked into that. Obviously, I know that my guys are dealing with it right now with the spring training just starting here a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so I guess I'll learn that once I start watching some of these games on Saturday. But you know, it's pretty cool too because Miami has it the beginning round, and then they also have all the rest of the rounds after the beginning round, all the way up to the finals. So I have some players that are playing with Team Israel this week, starting as well. In fact, a hometown guy for you guys, Boca Raton, Danny Valencia, who was around baseball for 9+ years, went to Spanish River High School. So he's playing with Team Israel. Jake Mednick, who went to Florida Atlantic University, he's on the Team Israel team. So I got guys all over the place, and obviously I'm on the run. So I wanted to stop by, say hello to you guys. Hope all is well with you and your families, and keep in touch as always.
Thank you. You have a safe flight. We can't wait to have you back in studio to fill us in on what's happening with that and the new field that you're going to be redoing.
Yeah, I can't wait. I actually, I've done like 3 interviews today, which is pretty impressive for a Wednesday. I just literally got done with ESPN, and you know, it's been great. Like I said to you guys the last time, I enjoy talking about it. It's a great story, not only for myself, but what we're going to give back to the community and what, you know, where I kind of came from and how hard it is to get here. But if you want something bad enough, you just keep going after it and keep doing what you're doing. And you know, dreams do come true, not to be cliche-ish, if you work hard enough for them. So I'm living proof of it. I'm enjoying every day. There's always naysayers out there. Avoid the naysayers and keep doing what you're doing.
When do you think the field's going to, when are you going to start? Is it opening for the fall or summer?
I'm hoping soon. You know, we're at the drawing process right now. What I mean by that is like site plans and stuff like that. So we're waiting to break ground here soon. Once we break ground, then I think things will start moving a little bit faster.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for calling in, Phil. Have a very safe flight. Enjoy, and we'll see you when you get back.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the day in sunny South Florida, and I will enjoy the 72 degrees that it is in Arizona.
Arizona, nice dry air.
Bye-bye, Phil.
Good stuff.
Nice.
It's always nice. It's always nice to have friends all over the place.
A lot of things happen, which is very cool.
That's right.
All right, so now we got to talk to Karen, because Karen has been, you're kind of like our everything all wrapped up in one kind of mom. You're working hard, you're young, you had kids young, you've been through the emotions of a lot of things. Does any of this conversation resonate with you?
Well, actually, I was asking Sarah and Whitney during our commercial break, because something that resounded in my mind was the mental health has been kind of like a cliche type of thing, because people don't want to say, I suffer depression, I suffer from bipolar anxiety, or any, you know, label that they get from a doctor per se their mental health. And I just feel like, how do you get the message out there to make, you know, to let people know how important it is to also take care of their mental health? And like after or during COVID, I remember hearing the number one pharmaceutical that was being sold was antidepressants. So a lot of people did hit a bottom, or, you know, a moment in time where they just didn't know what was going to happen. So I was asking Sarah and Whitney about, you know, the importance of mental health and how to make it more aware.
So what do you think?
Well, I mean, we talked about that sometimes there's stigma, especially in certain cultures, where if you grow up and you see, you know, certain roles where we learn, okay, we can't talk about our emotions here, right? So this is not a safe space. In fact, what we're going to do is we're going to just push our emotions down, and we'll let them build up. They'll come out in anger sometimes, but other than that, we're never doing anything with emotions. Sometimes you'll see certain roles in different cultures, but a lot of the work is really around normalizing that it is okay to talk about your feelings. It is okay to have mental health issues. It is okay to say, hey, I need some support here.
And and really making that connection between the physical and the mental health. You know, if someone's diagnosed with diabetes, for example, or heart disease, they're put on insulin, they're put on high blood pressure pills. You know, there's no stigma around that. It's okay, it's acceptable. Someone suffering from depression or anxiety and they need to see a psychiatrist perhaps and get medication. Oh no, that's not okay. I need to be able to do this myself. I can handle it. I don't want that. So much of what we're trying to do now is really fight that stigma attached to mental illness.
We talk about anxiety in here all the time, because anxiety was never under this auspice of mental illness. It was just a thing. But more and more people have anxiety.
And it's affecting our younger population more than ever. College kids that have to balance out school and COVID and work and just being a regular person. And then they're introduced to the workload of school and finding a job. Dating has become the new, holy smokes, what am I gonna do next? And if I don't date, is there something wrong with me? Why is everybody else getting married? Why is everybody else having children? I mean, it just goes on, and it's okay to be you.
Well, yeah, I mean, the social media is a huge, huge part of this.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
a lot of comparison. And what do people put out on social media? They put out their perfect, perfect lives. That's not real. That's not really what people are going through. And I find it so refreshing when people actually do post, hey, I've been through a challenge. I'm going through a challenge. Look how I've overcome it, for example. That's so much more refreshing than, a fake picture of what they want to present to the world. And our children, I think that kids and adolescents suffered a great deal, along with seniors, during COVID. I mean, they regressed, and it's been difficult for them to come back.
And making the adjustments that you're hearing the stories and you can't judge, and you got to listen. And then at the end, they're looking for an answer, and you really don't have an answer because it's the person has to find their own answer.
Karen, have you ever shared your story on the Latin Hustle?
I don't think I have.
Because it might be helpful. It will be helpful to somebody out there that's listening.
Well, I actually, like Sarah was saying, I was that person that I didn't share this with you, but this Sunday will be 5 years since my son passed. He was murdered.
So sorry for your loss.
So yeah, so that's one thing that, I feel that was the hardest obstacle in my life, but I climbed out of it, and I found like my strength. I found love for myself. I'm sharing time now with my daughter, so there's a lot of things that are starting to get back in order again. And I'm telling you, the past 5 years hasn't been easy, because when you hit grief and you lose your mind, you don't know how to react to that. So I definitely have been like that heroine who's grown up and learned from past mistakes, and a lot of forgiveness and acceptance. And I just, I like to share my light now, because I'm like, yes, I had this, but it doesn't mark me. It doesn't make me who I am. Like I'm much stronger, and I really do believe what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I do find that we all have that potential to overcome our obstacles in life. It's just, there is so much stigmatism, like, no, you shouldn't say that, no, you shouldn't post that, no, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, it's like having opened up with my story and hearing other women open up with their stories, it just, you see the light, you hear the message of positivity, you hear that hope that you can make it through.
And you're not alone. That your experiences are shared by everyone, because I think a lot of people who don't share their feelings and don't share their stories feel very isolated and alone. And look at you, you're an inspiration to a lot of people who are going through loss. I mean, it's wonderful that you do share, because you can really be an example for others, which is amazing.
And it was thanks to Kenny Love actually brought Karen to us here. We were gifted with that, and she sang and she danced the first time out, and she was going through all these trials and tribulations and things at home, and some personal stuff that was going on. And then she's the host of our Latin show as well, which is an amazing story. And she was accompanied by a few other hosts who lost their kids, all at the same time. They came in more or less. Karen was the first piece, and then we had Sally, and we had, it just goes on and on and on. And the other day we had a show where she was part of, and everybody had lost a loved one, a child, right? And they were all sitting across the deal. And, and again, I tell you, sometimes when you sit down and you get to witness all of these things come about, you sort of have to figure out how to make it flow and how to use it so others can come forward and share their stories as well. Captain Tiffany had a lot to do with this whole thing. I'm hoping to bring her so you can listen to that story. It just goes on and on. But you're looking at the symbolism of International Women's Day. You're looking at it sitting right there. Because there ain't been a stronger story than this woman and where she's come from to where she is today. You would not have recognized her a couple of months ago. which is amazing. So
I know, and I definitely, have faith. I thank God, and I also I feel so much gratitude towards my friends and family that never gave up on me and that said, you can do this, and it is beautiful to have people believe in you, and I've even done therapy because to me it's just there's so much that we carry inside that we're afraid to talk about because we feel it like might make someone look wrong or might make us look wrong. But a lot of times there's a lot of like hidden feelings or emotions that we carry inside that you do have to let them out. You do have to like talk about it and see the process of how to work everything out. And there's so many wise people, you and Dawn are amazing. I've learned so much from you, and I see that, that there's so much potential. And in this studio, even Vismaya was saying it, there's an energy, there's like this positivity that honestly the people that come through here are amazing, and like it's so nice to connect.
we get to share that story. Good stuff.
Is she going to do Latin Hustle today?
Sure, we'll see if we have a couple of ladies in the studios that want to do an interview in Spanish.
Wayne says her mom's Cuban, but she never learned Spanish.
I didn't.
My kids don't speak Spanish. They understand when I scream at them in Spanish.
Well, I say I know enough to know if someone's talking about me, but it's a lot of conjugation, which you just don't get in high school Spanish class. But I do wish I had learned. And Karen,
It's never too late.
I think the fact that you were able to share your story, there's so much courage in there. And that's the human condition, is understanding that most people do have a story and creating that opening. So for you to share your story, you've probably created an opening for other people to share as well. And that's pretty amazing and special. So I definitely applaud that, and it's
Thank
quite
you.
courageous.
And that takes me to the next level that I wanted to talk about, which is having inner core, having the ability to say I am secure versus being insecure, thinking the positive thoughts and getting rid of the negative thoughts. And Dawn is sitting over there in the corner very quietly, but I did the same thing that Dawn does for a living. And I did it in the day, in the 90s. And
Mortgage and titles?
Yes, mortgage, loan origination, the whole 9 yards. And when I first started that particular job, it's because I used to work for the union and I got fired. And my first son was being birthed. Freddie was a baby. And I was out of money and I was desperate. And a friend of mine said to me, meet this gentleman by the name of Mr. Miller. May he rest in peace. And I had to cross over the Whitestone in the day you had to take a test. And I took it, but I didn't finish it because Freddie was being birthed. So he gave me money to get back over the Whitestone Bridge because I didn't have the money to get back over. That's how bad times were. I wrote 12 loans the first week in the business, but I didn't fill out the applications, which you can't do that right now. I know. But I didn't fill them out because I was so busy trying to chase the rabbit and I needed money and everything else. But my inner core carried me through. It made me say to myself, you gotta be positive. And when you're feeling negative, take a sip of water or whatever and move on. And I wanted to talk about inner core. I wanted to talk about having that feel that anything that creeps up on you, how to get rid of it. How do you get rid of that negative saying? And Dawn, I know that in the business, and I don't know if you're married or not married, but my family used to say to me, are you insane? Go to Crazy Eddie's and get a job. And that wasn't me. I couldn't do that. So I had to make my money, make my bones, just jumping out there. And you got to be courageous to do this. It sound familiar? You got to be courageous.
Anyone that does numbers is like a superhero in my mind, because numbers for me, and Chuck always says to me, well, at least you consistently can't balance the bank account. You're consistent in what you don't know how to do.
But you can fill the bank account. That's the difference.
I can fill it, I can spend it, but don't ask me to reconcile it, even with QuickBooks. But so anyone that can work numbers is amazing to me.
Inner core.
Yeah.
Having the ability to say, I believe. Having the ability that when the naysayers, like Yeah, I gotta tell you something. When Mr. Baseball will come in here, he'll tell you about the naysayers because he was in the business to disapprove all wholeheartedly what he was
Oh
doing.
my gosh, what he is creating is amazing.
Amazing. It's amazing stuff. But I wanted you ladies to touch about a little bit about how you have that positive energy, how you reinforce it, how do we get rid of that negative energy? And then I want to get your input on this conversation as well, because I understand your business, because I was in it for 17 years. And it ain't easy to do what you do. And a lot of people don't understand what you do. They think it's the end result. But getting there is the
So where do you want to
challenge.
start? Sarah
So let's
and
start
Whitney?
with the ladies first about how do we establish inner core, how do we stay positive?
Well, one of the things that was coming up for me as I was listening to you speak is it's part of our Warrior Wisdom Toolkit. And it's this, this quote that I picked up, and it's leap and the net will appear. And there are certain people that have this inner self-confidence. And it sounds like you're one of those people that has it. Like, you know things are gonna be okay, and you're gonna leap and go for it rather than not be true to yourself. And so what you're talking about is really the messaging we tell ourselves. So for individuals who are comfortable making that leap, then there's the sense and the messaging of them saying, I believe in myself. I know I can do this. I got this. And so that self-talk then means that is also going to affect how I feel. That's what I'm going to put out there to the universe. That's the energy I'm putting out there. What do you think, Sarah?
I think that it's all about what we think, because our feelings are based on our thoughts. So let's say you wanted to go to the beach on a Saturday and it was raining, okay? One can look at it and say, you know what, I'm so disappointed, I'm so pissed, I was looking forward to this. Why does this always happen to me? Why is my life like this? You see where I'm going here, down a rabbit hole of negativity and depression. Or that same person can look at it and say, well, I really wanted to go to the beach and I am disappointed, but let me try to make the most of it. Maybe I'll make some chili and watch Netflix. I'll clean my closet, whatever that is. And then we feel differently. You see how our thoughts are directly connected to our feelings. The power of changing our thoughts to be positive is incredible. And
So
I
we
know,
can
like,
do
a lot
that.
of people are like, oh, you got to think positive. You know, that's so cliche. No. It is the key, I think, to really overcoming challenges. We have to think positively, and even if we don't want to, and even if we don't feel that way, we have to just force ourselves to change how we're thinking.
But we
because-
have the ability to do that. There is
Yes.
no lack of ability to do that.
Yes. I mean, have you ever had this experience where, like, I don't know, sometimes I'll get like a text message, and I have 4 children, and they're all teenagers. So you can imagine the text messages I get. And so, you know, you get this text message, and my energy can go to a very negative place based on some of these messages, right? But I can be like, no, I am choosing not to do that. I am not giving my energy to that message. I will not be responding. Not today, my friend. And so then, like, I conserve my energy, I change my mindset, and I have a better experience. And we can do that throughout our lives, not just, you know, with our teenage children. We can do that with significant others. We can do that with work. We can do that with friendships, but it becomes a choice. And I think, you know, it's just powerful. And I would encourage you to just try it. Just say, not today. This is not worthy of my time or my energy, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose a different feeling, and I'm going to get there by choosing a different thought.
Dawn, what do you think?
So first, I wanted to just go back to Karen and say, God bless you, and your son is with you, and he is always there, and you are amazing for going through what you have, and God bless you, seriously.
Thank you.
So my half brother passed away at a very young age, and I know what his mother went through, and no human being should bury their own child. So my deepest heartfelt sincerity to you, seriously. with that being said, I believe that your thoughts resonate. And so if you are having a negative feeling, you want to take a breath and realize why you're having that negative feeling or having that negative thought pattern, because maybe for a quick second you've thought, oh, maybe I'm not worthy, or maybe I'm not this, or maybe I'm not that. But if you take a minute and take a breath and realize where it's coming from, then you can actually see that that's not correct, that's not really how it is, and you decide to change that pattern or that thought process and resonate with, no, I'm worthy, no, I can do this, and I'm going to move forward this way, as opposed to, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, I'm not pretty enough, oh, I don't look this way, or I don't look that way. As you were saying earlier, social media does play a big part in everybody's comparison of themselves. And there shouldn't be a comparison, because we're all human. We're all going through the same thing. We're all going through the same struggles, and life is difficult. But if you align yourself with people who will keep you positive and moving forward, that will make life a little bit easier as well. And I do believe that we all need somebody to talk to. And it has to be somebody who is objective, not somebody that's your best friend, because your best friend's always going to agree with you. Even if they don't agree with you, they kind of will agree with you. I believe that you need somebody that's outside of your realm, your family, your friends, and talk to them and tell them your deepest, darkest secrets, because then they'll be able to tell you, you're not crazy. That's not how you are, or how you feel, or how you look. And that person can tell you that what you're feeling or how you're acting is normal, and how to change that and go forward. I do believe we all need somebody to talk to.
Well, that's why therapy is so great. I mean, because, you're talking to someone who's outside of your family. We don't have an agenda, and we're not emotionally connected.
But you have to find the right therapist. And we talk about supplements all not being equal, right? You can go to all these health food stores and there's a million B12s. They're not all the same. Therapists are not all the same.
That is true. Karen, go ahead.
So I implore you, so check your insurance, and it still doesn't mean the top one on your insurance plan is going to be the right one. Go through it and find the right one for you, because we all have stories, right? Whether it's our mother, our father, our sister, whatever our stories are. That if that triggers your therapist, and it shouldn't, but if it does, you're going to get different advice than someone who's totally non-biased with the situation. So I don't know your best advice for seeking therapy. I certainly don't listen to me, because I'm not the expert, but just do your due diligence.
I mean, you want to have a therapist that you have rapport with. But I would say the biggest thing is the right therapist wants what's right for the client. So if a client and I are not vibing, I'm not upset about that.
But that's the thing. You may not vibe with every client.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I want that client to find the right person and get the help they need. I also want the client to have the right specialist. So sometimes you'll have clients and you'll work with them and you'll recognize, you know what, they really need a specialist, and I am not the specialist, and I want them to find it. So the right therapist leaves their ego at the door, because the work is not about the therapist. It's about that client completely.
I agree fully.
I think, Karen, you were going to say something?
I like, even after losing Giovanni, I think I've probably been through around like 5 different therapists, because there was one that, like, I was in a session and she was texting on her phone and not really paying attention to me. And then, a lot of their expertise, they don't deal with grief or certain traumas, and so you definitely do have to talk to a few people to like really open up about everything and allow that trust to form between you and your therapist.
You know, when I was an NYU student and I went through these battles of anxiety and things that they didn't have names for this back in the day. And I had to suffer in silence, and I drove my mother crazy. And Dr. Schwann, may he rest in peace, said to me, I want you to see a psychiatrist, a shrink. We used to call it a shrink. And the Latino family does not allow that. And like The Sopranos, you know, he wasn't allowed to see one either. He had to do a backdoor deal. So I was not allowed to see a shrink. I was not allowed to talk to anybody. I had to suffer in silence. And when you speed this up and I became a lone originator, there was nobody applauding my deals. I mean, I used to move millions of dollars in papers. I was doing so well in that business that I would sell paper to people and just make money on every first of the month. It was ridiculous. But the only applause I got was from myself, because I learned how to do that by myself because what I went through. So here's my dilemma, and I'm glad, again, you ladies are here. I meet somebody and I see what they're going through. I get it, man. I get it so well because it hits home. But I can't say to them, listen, let me show you how I did it. I can't do that because then it sounds like I'm telling them what to do. And that will take an ear and they will move away because all of a sudden nobody wants to be told what to do.
But Freddie, are you really telling them what to do, or are you just sharing your experience with them?
Honey, I get so passionate about it, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm being so honest. I get so wound up because there are kids around me right now that have more talent than I ever had in my life. And they are so talented, and what's holding them back is that they need somebody to talk to that isn't too close to the flame. Okay, because I remember I wrote a $100 million deal. There was no parade for me. There was nobody to say, you know, you did a nice job. So I went to sports and I coached kids, thousands of kids I coached in 20 years. And the gratification was about watching them go to college, like I do now. But it is so frustrating because you can't tell them, or I'm afraid to tell them or express what I went through because they'll look at me and say, oh, that was in the 90s. Or in the 80s, I don't know how old. I was 16 when I went to NYU.
But isn't the human experience, I mean, transcend generations? I mean, what are you afraid of, Freddie?
That I'm going to hurt them more than I'm going to help them.
I see. I see.
Because nobody
I don't think
understood
that's,
me.
I think you are absolutely diminishing what you have to offer to those kids.
But I'm trying to be careful, Dawn. I'm trying to be sensitive because I get mad. I said, listen, in this house, you never say no. And they'll tell you, I will never accept a no. Can we do this? What's the right answer? Josh, what's the right answer? Wherever he is.
Bring me in this.
And Josh will tell you, I
set
say
a
to him,
boundary.
don't ever tell me no and don't ever tell me you can't. Because that's what I went through. And I just look for that core and that balance. And that's why I'm so happy that you guys are here today, because I want people to understand it's okay to be you. And it's okay to dig deep and find a new you, because that new you goes from this point forward. Been there. I've seen it. I suffered in silence for years. I'm not a medical doctor today because of it. I couldn't take the pressure. NYU was, man, I'm going to tell you, they were ruthless. But that was their job, was to weed out the people.
But do you ever wonder what would have happened if
No.
therapy
No.
was more
No.
accepted? And okay.
I'm done with that.
Okay.
Because if I stay in my head and I wonder, then it takes away from the things
From your
that you
presence,
see
yeah.
around you today. And my house is open to anybody. I don't care who you are. Makes no difference. You come on in, I'll sit with you. I don't care if you believe in the devil himself. Makes no difference to me. Because I understand that your belief is important to you. And I'm just looking and witnessing. If we share ideas and I can help you go in the right path without right choice, then you pick it. And that's why I love this show today, because I know what you do for a living. And I know how tough it is to be who you are. And if you're not a lone originator in this business, you don't understand quite how hard it is to be successful, because that word successful is your definition, and everybody judges it.
Inner core. How do people get in touch with you, Whitney and Sarah?
We have a website, warriorwithinservices.com. And each of us have emails, Sarah at warriorwithinservices.com and Whitney at warriorwithinservices.com. And that's probably the best way to find us.
Oh, do you only individuals or do you work with groups and families as well?
We work with families, we work with couples, and we are actually starting some workshops and groups as we speak.
I think the workshops are definitely well needed.
And necessary, yeah.
Definitely. Because people need to know that once it's like taking your yoga from the mat into life. Taking your skills that you learn from your toolbox and really sitting with the person in the workshop next to you and being able to apply it and understand it.
Yes.
Which is nice. Dawn, how do people reach you?
So my website is dawnmarieandre.com, and I am with Standard Mortgage, and my number is 954-696-1927. You can call me, text me, and I am happy to explain. The reason I got into the loan origination was because I was a title agent for so many years, and I saw that people didn't understand what they were going through, and I wanted to do better. I knew I could do better. And so I always pride myself in helping people achieve home ownership and thriving in that home for their life.
I think you're the third Dawn Marie that we know. I don't know. I'm not a Dawn Marie, but we know 3 Dawn Maries. Guess it's a thing that goes together. Like, you know.
They come in bunches.
And Carrie, we're going to do Latin Hustle today?
Yes.
Absolutely.
We'll bring out some positive information for the Hispanic community.
Thank you. You keep walking the walk.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
Amen.
Ready to wrap this up?
Ready to wrap it up.
Happy
Great show.
International Women's Day, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
We hope
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Ladies.
We shared this open space for you to just know, be your authentic self, step out of your comfort zone, and just keep on going, because it's a whole new world out there now.
That's right. Don't let nobody stop you, and most importantly, don't stop yourself. Just keep on going. Just keep on doing it. And
Have a
you're
great
right.
afternoon, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. drive time.
Don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Broken Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.